Hello and welcome to Protect Your Copyrights with Red Giant Rights Group CEO Robert King. On today's podcast, we hear real-life examples of protecting copyrights and learn why change is painful but needed. And now, here's Robert King with Protect Your Copyrights.
Come on! Hey everyone, thanks for joining our podcast, Protect Your Copyrights. My name is Robert King. I run a company called Red Giant Rights Group. We started it with the older artist in mind, those older artists who were not aware of all of their rights, particularly given to them by the U.S. Congress. And we also assist surviving family members, most of which don't have any inclination of their rights. They were not artists. They were not in the industry. They have wills, trusts, and estate attorneys handling their estates who know very little, if anything, about copyright law. So we hope that you'll check out all of our podcast episodes and learn what you can. Feel free to reach out to me personally, but let's see what we'll talk about today.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for listening. The number of us have been great. We appreciate you sharing, liking, subscribing, giving us the high ratings that you have given to us. This is Robert, and today we're talking about change. Oh, gosh. Change. Do you know there is a study that says that change, the brain interprets change the same way it does physical torture. So we got to talk about change, and we got to talk about what changes that you have to make and how you might respond to those changes. If you continue down the road that you have always gone down, then for some of you, that's great. You get to cash that check, and it's so fun when the money comes in. But for others of you, the money is either not there at all, or you have very little of it. It is a low number, and you're frustrated, or you've never recouped, and so you're still, all of your royalties, any money that you are making, is still going to the record label. So we do have to talk about change, and the reason that we're even addressing it is because it's brutal. It's awful. I know it is. I deal with it every day. I deal with clients who are just, when they hear from us, they're like, well, this is the way that it's always been, and that's okay. And I don't know any different. This is true obviously for older artists. This is true for family members. I don't know any different. I don't know exactly how to do it, which you don't have to know how to do it because that's what we do. You need a copyright advisor. That's what we do. And I'm scared about it. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to lose. I don't want to hurt my relationships. I don't want to lose what's coming in. All of these are what? What do all of them sound like? They sound like something that is based in fear, trepidation, and I get it. We understand. We totally understand, and we want to inspire and potentially even challenge your way of thinking so that you can work through the change that is necessary, work through the emotions around the change that is necessary in order for you to truly protect your copyrights. Now, if you've listened to any of the other podcasts, you know that we've talked about timing. You know that there is a window of time, and that when that window closes, in many instances, your opportunity to protect your copyrights is gone forever. We know that this was brought to us, made available to you, made available to us, because Congress knew that you needed another seat at the table, another bite at the apple. So this has been gifted to you. So we know, because you've listened to other podcast episodes, we know these things now, if you didn't know them before, but we know these things. So then it comes to, all right, now what? Oh my gosh, I have to decide to do something. Do you know, when you make a decision, right? This is a dime store psychology, but when you make a decision, that can be a very big deal for some people. It's just to make a decision, period. When you make a decision and then it is different and that it is change, and often I will tell you, some of these conversations that we have with our clients, particularly now with the pandemic that we are all living in or under, there's no way for us to connect, to look each other in the eye, to break bread, to have a meal together, to play a round of golf, to get to know each other, to come over to the office, to sit in a conference room. We can Zoom, which is good in many cases, and we can talk on the phone, but you're making decisions, right? And that word scares some people, but you're making decisions without meeting people, without meeting this person. But you're running up against timelines because nobody on your team or nobody in your family or whatever circumstances told you that the window was closing. You're just going to miss it. If you choose to do nothing, you're going to miss your opportunity altogether. And that's fine. It can be what it is for the rest of your life plus 70 years or 95 years after the publication date. And that seems to be extended these days. So, sure, it can be the same thing. Why would you go through the change? Why would you make the change? Because it's going to benefit you. Because it benefits you all the way around. It is what we do is we look at your total assets, right? We look at it as a sphere. From every angle, we view your assets as important, as powerful, as valuable to your family members, not only to you in the latter part of your life, but to your family members. This is a very important conversation. It's no fun to have conversations about end of life conversations. Of course not. But let me tell you something. How many? I pick up the phone. I read the news on my phone these days, but I pick up the phone or the newspaper or flip through the internet or whatever. How many artists that we know, household names, or that were songwriters? We may not know their names, but we obviously know their songs or their art, or authors. How we're seeing these people die. Often on a consistent basis, on a weekly basis, let's say monthly, on a monthly basis, but it feels like it's even weekly. In the last week, it seems like we lost 1, 2, 3, 4 artists that were either authors, songwriters, or recording artists or band members. So that is heartbreaking. It's devastating. It's devastating to the family. And then think about that emotion, and then you have to decide, or you have to make a decision to change. But we want to encourage you that while you're still alive, that these tough conversations we're ready to have. These tough conversations, they're protecting you. It is a change, but it is a change for the better in order to protect you as we move forward and really protect you, but also your surviving family members. We get it. It's tough. It's not something it's not a conversation anybody wants to have. We need to make sure that you understand your rights. We need to make sure that your will, trusts, and estate attorneys are not necessarily copyright experts. And so if you don't have a copyright attorney or an copyright expert on your team looking at your will, you're in potential of not getting what you want. Whatever, and again, I can go of case after case after case where an estate. I'll give you an example. So we were in conversations with a major recording artist, obviously a household name. We were in conversations with a major recording artist and his family members. Unfortunately, he was sick towards the end, and what we at Red Giant tried to do was conversations with management, conversations with children, conversations with spouse, to encourage them to take advantage of their rights. Because this particular artist had extended family, different marriages, different kids, different, they're always, it doesn't matter what your situation is, there's always something going on, particularly when you have considerable assets. And this particular artist has considerable assets. There's always going to be some kind of argument, something going on. So if they had taken some of the advice that was given to them, if they had been proactive, if they were able to do things while the artist was still living, then they would have saved themselves a world of trouble that now they are in after his death. So not only are they dealing with the death of the artist, which is tragic, but then now they have to deal with litigation on top of that, which is even more emotionally tragic. And it's not the best conversation to have. We get it, but it's so vitally important. When we talk about protecting your copyrights, listen, we made this podcast, we named the podcast on purpose because you want to protect your copyrights for not only you, but also your family members. And that will involve change. That will involve you making some choices, some decisions that will require change in different ways. That could require a change in your publisher, a change in your record label, or a change in the way your assets are paid. You need somebody who's going to look at everything, talk you through everything, ask you important, pointed questions that will set you up for success and set your family up for success. That is our ultimate goal. That is why you want to protect your copyrights, so that you can, after you're long gone, you will have protected your family, and your copyrights will not be caught up in litigation, in probate, and argued about long after you are gone. So change is difficult. Change is hard. We get it. But we're challenging your way of thinking. We're challenging the uncomfortableness of what needs to happen in order for you to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your copyrights. So what does that change look like? You know what we hear from artists? This is a brutal phrase that we hear sometimes. And it is it breaks my heart when I hear an artist say it. I'm happy with my current deal. Now, many of these artists, if you have recently renegotiated your deal, you may be happy with your current deal, and that's fine. But many of these artists are talking about deals that they signed in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They're happy with their current deal. Why? Oh, because you get a check. Because for whatever you did way back then, they're looking out for you. They have your best interest in mind. And you're getting, and you don't want to rock the apple cart. So, again, I don't want to belittle ways of thinking, but I do want to challenge that thinking in saying your current deal can be renegotiated. Now, what if that means that your current deal is a 85-15 deal, which is really good, by the way, for a 1960s, 70s, 80s artist. But let's say it's 85-15. Let's say you got a great deal, 85-15. We even have previous experience with an artist that had a real big hit, and they renegotiated that particular income stream up to 18. So let's say it's 18. Fantastic. That is a really strong deal. Again, 82-18, but it's a really strong, favorable deal for the artist. What if I can turn it into 25? What if through our experience we can turn 18 into 20, 18 into 30, 18 into 35? What if by the negotiation process we find out, as you may have heard me mention before, that certain things are not even included in your contract, and you renegotiated a particular deal to 18, but your syncs and your licensing is still at your original rate of 12. And what if we could get your 12% to 50, 12% to 40, 12% to 30? What if your streaming rate is at your CD rate in your original deal? I'm happy with my current deal. Well, streaming didn't exist when you signed that current deal. So what if your streaming rate comes in at your CD rate? Like I think you've heard from, of other artists who have experienced something like that. So then what if we could get that up to 20, 25, 30, whatever percentage? What if it was possible to negotiate reversion? So instead of waiting another 35 years, what if we could get your sound recordings back 20 years from now or 25 years from now? You get an extra 10 years at 100%, or really 85-15 because you have an administrator or whatever. You get more of a percentage. Or your compositions. I'm happy with my current deal. What? We've already talked about all the people all the songwriters that have already gone through this, that have already executed their rights. And but why wouldn't you want to get those rights back and then exploit them for profit through either administrator or through some kind of joint venture or what? Right now, it's possible, not probable, but possible that they're sitting on a balance sheet with no marketing, no attention, and gathering dust.
Sorry to interrupt. This is Robert King, CEO of Red Giant Rights Group. I want to make sure that you know that we are available to answer your questions. Feel free to call me on my cell phone, for a confidential conversation. 917-848-9934. Again, 917-848-9934. And now back to the podcast.
According to us, we see it as a valuable asset because all creativity has a place. Sure, some of your creativity is better than others, but we have there are some odd requests that come in for synchronization and licensing these days, and if you just watch one of your favorite programs on Netflix or Amazon and listen to the music, listen to the choices that they've made on music, and you'll see some pretty wild decisions that are being made with some very interesting music that you've never heard of, right? So if you already have an established brand and now you have these songs that nobody's necessarily ever heard of or have never been exploited or been sitting in a vault somewhere or warehouse, or they haven't been on Spotify, then let's go get those assets. Let's do something with them. You've already done it. You've already created them. They have intrinsic value by their existence. And if you don't believe that, you need somebody on the team that believes that. We believe that. We get behind all of your assets, and we figure out a way. Look, for some people, if you can make the needle move $1,000 a year, that's good. Means they get to buy some extra Christmas presents. If you can make that needle move 10,000, an extra 10 a year, all right, very interesting. That's one sync. That could be really good. If you can get the needle to move an extra 100 a year because now you own it, let's say you don't even own the asset. You just own a greater percentage. You've heard me say before, I'm going to reiterate it right now. Don't go promote your assets if you haven't already renegotiated a better percentage, because all that money, that extra money, is going to the record label. So if you can move the needle by renegotiating your assets for a higher percentage or ownership to the tune of $100,000 a year, that is significant for the rest of your life plus 70 years. And then I've shown you the example of one asset increased by $800,000 a year on average. Over 50 years, that's an extra $40 million. So these are not made up stories, outlandish stories that pie in the sky, maybe that takes place, maybe it doesn't. No, we find, but let me go back to this. I'm off topic a little bit, but let me go back to this. But you have to make a decision for yourself. Change for yourself, for your family. It will make such a difference. It will make, or potentially make such a difference. And don't let people hoodwink you into thinking that don't mess up your current deal. No. Congress knew better. Smart people, very talented, smart people are doing it, and you're not. This is a great opportunity. There is, I think, if we apply a new understanding, then that will be significant. Look, a lot of people don't know about this. And we've already talked about that a lot of people in the business don't know, but a lot of artists don't know about it. And even if they do know about it, they don't know how to do it. Even if they know how to do it, they may not have done it right. Even if they did it right, they may not know how to negotiate or what is a good deal and what's not a good deal. So there are a lot of steps, a lot of pitfalls, and so, but a lot of people, it is a new understanding of this. Now, with a new understanding of something comes change. If I walked, I have teenagers. So if I walked to school every day, then the school gets a little farther and I take a bus. Then I get a little older and I can drive. If I choose not to change in each one of those circumstances, I don't improve my life. Quality of life does not improve, does not get better. What we're talking about is quality of life decisions. Making a change in the right direction because you have a new understanding makes sense. We're not telling you to, okay, yeah, good, let's change, go. No, you can do your research. You can have find a better understanding. Ask important questions. But ultimately, it comes down to, are you willing to change? I've got some older artists that I've talked to for years. And their family members, spouses are often involved, or other family members involved in some of their decision making. But I even have, for example, one artist who has a new wife, but because of the old wife and the litigation that he went through with the older wife, the now ex-wife, then he doesn't want to do anything because of all the things that he has already been through. He doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to touch anything. Everything is flowing. Everything is going the way it's supposed to. He doesn't want to change anything. I get it. Okay, fine. I get it. And I'm not going to make you do something, but I am going to challenge the way you think, because there is opportunity here. There is opportunity to listen. In that particular circumstance, our team has reviewed the divorce documents, and there may be opportunity there that the artist is not considering. So it just helps. It helps to have somebody outside of the, and you know what, frankly, you can say we're not in the business. We're really not in the business. We're in the business of protecting your copyrights. We're not a manager. We're not an agent. We're not a tour person, PR person. We're not any of those things. Publishers, yes. Record label, yes. We can do all those things. Production, we can do all those kinds of things. But we are here to review what you're currently doing and protect your copyrights. Now, I can make a recommendation. I can look at what you're currently doing, and I can make a recommendation and say, hey, we recommend that you do this. That doesn't mean you have to do it, because change could be too much for you. That's fine. But we're going to challenge you to make that adjustment, to go through that change. Because if we can show you something compelling, if there is value there, and we know there is just because we deal with assets all the time, every day, we know there is. We have yet to find a situation where there wasn't some value even in a very, very. I have one lady who is not a client, but I've spoken to her a couple times. She's in her 80s, and she wrote a song for a very popular household name artist. And really, with all due respect to this wonderful lady, she hadn't done much more than that. I mean, she knows a ton of people in the business. She toured a long time ago. She made a couple of albums. She's, she had her time in the spotlight and made a difference and was an entertainer. So I'm not taking away from that, but in the way of assets moving forward, what can we do? How can we help? There's really only one asset that is of significance. And this older lady doesn't know what to do because she doesn't know what to do. And if she doesn't know what to do, then it must not be able to be done because she's been in the business for 40, 50 years. So it will take a adjustment. It will take a change in her way of thinking. And it's not just a change in the way of thinking, but it's also a realization, an acceptance that there is something here that you may not know about. There is something of value that could affect the rest of your life, plus the life of the copyright. All that to say that this is different. And it is out of the ordinary. It is a great opportunity, but it's not something that you've necessarily thought about for most of your career. And let me tell you, it's more prevalent now than it was even 5 years ago. There are a whole lot more people who know about it now, a whole lot more managers, attorneys who know about it now, and there has been an educational process that has taken place over the last 5 years. But there's still plenty of folks out there who don't know about it, who don't know the value in protecting your copyrights. And so that change, making that change is very challenging, very difficult. I'll give you another example. I love sharing these examples with you because they're real life examples, and we're very careful to protect the individuals. We don't tell their stories in a negative way or to shine a negative light on them. We share their stories because they're real life stories, and we can all learn from them. Even when an artist potentially like this particular story that I'm about to tell you, even when they make a decision that we may not necessarily agree with, it doesn't mean that they're, we're not saying anything disparaging about that person. We just don't agree with the decision that they made. So, an older artist, obviously, and he is a prolific with his contributions for many, many, many decades. And he is, and he's trying to find his way and has heard of stuff like this, doesn't really necessarily know how to do it, and wants to learn. And every time we have the conversation, I've spoken to him a handful of times. And every time we have the conversation, it always gets to, all right, well, let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's see what kind of difference we can make. But he's not ready. And look, it could be me. If you saw me, thank God, podcasts are not a visual medium. But if you saw me, I have long hair and a beard and dark features. And when I was an actor, I played villains primarily. So you could look at my physical appearance and say, well, heck, that's not a guy to be trusted. He's he's going to kidnap my girlfriend and tie her to a railroad track. And you have to be old to understand that reference. But the point is that it could be me. It could be just a basic trust of me and either the way I present things. Let me be really clear here to anybody who's listening to me talk for the first time or learning about Red Giant or learning about copyrights or whatever. Let me be really, really clear. At no time will we at Red Giant ever, quote unquote, convince somebody to do something. It's not our job. It's your decision. It's your copyrights. As a matter of fact, you've heard me say that you are the only person on the planet that can do this, that has the right to do this for yourself, not your spouse, not your kids, not your manager, not your attorney, nobody. You're the only person who can protect your copyrights. So we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't tell you to do something that you don't want to do. We will provide you all the information. We're going to go out there and do research on your behalf. We're going to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to make the best decision possible. Some people hate that word. To make the best intelligent decision possible. And then what I'm telling you, because I have experienced it, is that something will have to change. And that can be really hard on people. That can be an impediment. It can also be an impediment to progress. So I just want to, this is a tough topic. I get it. And I, even broaching it is trepidatious. I get it. So I just don't. I am approaching this as gently as I possibly can with you, not to treat you because you can't handle it or with kid gloves or whatever, because I know that it is. I'll give you the perfect example. We have a client that has moved toward making a change and making a difference and protecting their copyrights and we're going to do a lot of cool things together. And it happened this week, and we've been talking to him for 3 years, almost 4 years. So that's a long time to get to the point where you want to actually do something. Did this person miss out on opportunities? It's possible. It really is possible. Are we going to be able to pull some of that stuff back in? Maybe. Strike while the iron is hot. Now is the time to take advantage of this. And again, not to say anything disparaging about that person. They're our client, and we're gonna work like hell on her behalf. And the lesson to learn from that particular story is there is no reason, there is no need, there is no particular reason to have to wait that long in order to get something done. And you can face that change head on. We want to encourage you to face that change head on. And rise through it, go through the painful process. It actually, not only did we talk about physical torture at the beginning, but there actually is a sense of grief. We just had a client sign a brand new contract with a major record label this week, and we reached out to them, and this person is 75, 80 years old. We reached out to them, and as we always do, and we sent them a text and said, congratulations on your brand new record deal. And that's what it is. That's the excitement about it. We were able to do some really cool things with it, and hopefully make a difference for him and his family for the life of the copyrights. But the exciting part is, yes, you had an existing deal, but now you have a brand new record deal at 60, 70, 80, 90 plus that can make a difference, that can change your percentages, that can resolve some existing balances, that can give you more opportunity for synchronizations and licensing. Yes, it may even hurt a little bit. There may be even some grief around, oh man, remember when I was 15 or 25 or 35 when I signed that deal? And it was such a good time. I remember it in my career, and it was we had the best of times and doing all kinds of touring and top 10, top 40, number one hits. Yes, I get it. We can be nostalgic with you. Yes, it's valuable, and let's move forward. Let's sign a new deal. Let's get under negotiation. You can survive this change. It can be a change for good. It can be a change for better. And I keep saying the word, even though it pierces your heart and your soul and your mind. Every time I say it, I'm saying the word again and again and again and again and again on purpose, because we want you to know that it's real. This emotion around what you're doing is real. And we're here to ultimately protect your copyrights. So, thank you for listening today. Listen, we're here for you. You've heard me say I started this company with the artist in mind. I have a heart for the artist, and we want the best for you. We work like hell every day for you, on behalf of you, on behalf of your colleagues, on behalf of surviving family members, in order to move the needle, in order to make a difference, in order to find money, unclaimed royalties that have been sitting there for years. To do new publishing deals, to do new production deals, we're on board to make a difference, to move the needle, to reinvigorate those assets, those valuable assets, and pay attention to growing that brand, that existing brand, that very valuable brand. That is our commitment to you. That is our dedication to you, and we know that it is different. We know that you're going to have to make some decisions in order for these things to happen, but we are here for you and support all of those decisions that you're making. Thanks for listening to Protect Your Copyrights. Check in again. We'll have another topic next time. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Protect Your Copyrights with Red Giant Rights Group CEO Robert King. For a confidential conversation with Robert, give him a call on his cell phone at 917-848-9934. Once again, that's 917-848-9934. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and be sure to join us next time on Protect Your Copyrights with Robert King. Woo!